Okay. Okay, but the campaign will start on the 5th, so we'll see between the 5th and the 8th of October. So that will be this. Yeah. Okay. No, we'll get time for you. We got to see your action. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take the last two. We have Councillor Gongloe here already. Let's take the last two. Let's hear from this caller. Good morning. Your name and where you call from. Godwin, the line is freezing. Hope you can call back. Let's hear from this caller. Good morning. After you will take the last one.
is supporting the other jacket. The other jacket is on the opposite. Don't take it this morning for the time.
Thank you, my brother. Let me take the last one. Good morning, your name and where you call from.
Yes, good morning, Kelvin. Let me say good morning to the listening public.
Go ahead, my brother. It's been a while.
Yes, thank you very much, Kelvin. Let me say good morning to my uncle.
1 minute, please. 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kelvin, my name is Henry M. Gray, and I joined the National Conversation on Renaissance. And I'm on the campaign team of the United Party in the district. Kelvin, when it comes to Honorable and his sponsor son, look, Honorable Panku has made it clear on several occasions on the school FM. He made it clear on the school CD that a Jennifer Day Honorable Legal Solver FCA and CEO was forced to call Honorable Panku to make clarity the allegation level against him that he supposed his son in the district against Honorable Cllr. And Honorable Panku make it clear that I told my son to step back and he is of age. I'm not the one supporting him. He has his right. He said you won't get him back from the race. So what should I do? For him, we gave all of our support and admiration to Honorable Cllr. That's the Honorable Cllr on his video. So I don't know where all the other recording coming from.
But they won't get nothing to do with recording. It's a separate issue. They won't get nothing. The yeka issue ain't get nothing to do with recording. So I don't know what you're talking about. What the recording got to do about the main contest. Thank you. We have to go. We don't have the luxury of time. Yeah, but we don't have the time. Agree. We don't have the time. We want to start just right in time with our guests. In Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He's here already. We want to start in exactly 2 minutes, but just before that, at least so that the pape can settle with it. Yeah, see?
Yeah, see, Tiawan, Councillor Saye Tiawan Gongloe. Okay.
The Saye is in the middle. Yeah, the Saye is in the middle. So we'll get back to that. So, folks, you can text the *799# *799#, and walk away with 2,500 Liberian dollars. 2,500 Liberian dollars. You must have a Lostar Cell MTM number first. You must have money in your mobile money wallet. At least $100 to play. At least $100 to play. When you have $100, you text the *799#. You see the options 1, Dana 8, 2, 3, Dana 8. Just go to 4. 4, you see Prime FM, and you click on Prime FM. And now when you click on Prime FM, you get into the system pending the draw. We do that draw before 12 o'clock. So while we're doing all of the interviews, you can keep texting to *799#. *799#. Is that number a short code you can text to, but it is only with Lostar Cell MTM. It's about 14 minutes past 9 o'clock. This program should start at about 9:15. Pape always come in time. That's one thing I respect him for. He's always on time. This is one person who doesn't joke with time, and I admire that about you. And it's our pleasure to have you here on this edition of the program, the Prime Morning Drive, Councillor. I'd like to say good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for me welcoming me back here again. I think this is my third or fourth time on this.
Yeah, sure. You've
been interviewed by you, and I was just recently in your part of Nimba, Lower Nimba.
Oh, we're fleeting.
I was endorsed in Zikepa over the weekend. Me and my running mate were there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great program.
Yeah, I was there. They call your name
And
for the
people came
Nimba
from
TV.
and all of that. Yeah.
The launch of the Nimba TV. I was thinking I could see you, but later I heard that you were attending another program.
Right. That was
so you could not. Okay. But anyways, but it's great having you as the party.
It's great, but I'd like to, before we begin our conversation, make some few clarifications on key issues that are trending. One is the issue of president saying, "Oh, when I was in opposition, I used to be at every government program. How come I don't see the opposition here?"
Can you put the
in an organized,
yeah,
in an organized government, people send invitations out.
No, we'll get to all of that thing. Let's just start with the softer ones.
All right.
We'll come. Don't worry.
Okay. So we'll make that clarification.
You want the interviews.
We will talk about all of
those things. All right.
But
first of all, how's the party?
It's great. The party is great. We are moving from strength to strength. Nobody expected, that we reach this far.
Okay.
We were dismissed a lot from the beginning. And the major thing has been, Gongloe is fit to be president. He's good. That's the president we need in this country, but he doesn't have money. But I always tell people that I came in the Mere Baptist Church and he used to tell us, good name is better than silver and gold.
You think that works in our present day?
It works. Because we've seen, I don't want to call name, but 2005, we saw some presidential candidates spending so much, and they lost.
But even the people who won, they spend. It didn't come to them on the platter.
They didn't spend as much as those who lost. Yeah. 2011, one particular person, a religious person, he was spending money like water.
I know.
He didn't do well. So, yes, money is important. To move around, you need money, gasoline, vehicles, and everything. But in the end, leadership is based on wisdom, not how much money you have. And we are in a critical stage of our country, and I usually say clearly that Liberia is in the ICU. Voting for this government in power again would be committing national suicide. I really mean that.
We'll talk about all of those things that you've tabled for us to talk about.
Can you win election without money? Because I'm asking that because
not necessarily. Yeah. I'm just saying don't hinge winning on how much money the president has.
Okay.
The deep pocket doctrine does not do it. But you need money. I mean, just moving vehicles around, gasoline alone, repairs of vehicles, when you take people around, lodging them in motels and all of that, you need money. You need that logistical requirement. But it is not a money competition to say the one that had it. Otherwise, Rose Perot would have won in America. Someone would say, oh, America is different. In this extremely poor country, money matters. But even for those who are spending the money, when you give millions of dollars around, few people keep it and give $300, $400 to people, it doesn't change anything. I think ultimately people vote on who you are.
I know a lot of some other media institutions, they've had a taste of your running mate. We've not, but since you're here, we are making efforts to contact him for a possible interview.
I can bring him. I can let him come.
But before,
you want him tomorrow, you can get him.
Yeah, sure, we'll get him. I want him next week, Monday. Yeah. Can arrange that. But just before that, can you tell us, before his arrival, who is he and why did you pick him? That specific question is for you. We know what set of questions to ask him.
Right. Ambassador Winston Tubman called me recently and asked the same question. What are the factors that led you to select him? I was looking for someone with integrity and someone younger. Politically, I was also looking for women, and I have to confess that I tried so many women who said no to me. But
Why did they say no? Why did they say no?
for different good reasons.
But you did find women who fit the bill.
Oh yeah, I found women who fit the bill, but some said the time was short. Some had other engagement like NGO and all of that, and they needed like 4 or 5 months to prepare. Had I contacted them earlier in time, they would have made it.
Who are some of them?
Well, I will call one person in who said, "I'm prepared to testify that you contacted me." Lima Bowie is one of them.
Okay.
All right. She said, "I'm prepared to testify." I said, you better, are you prepared to tell the librarian what I wanted?
Okay.
So, but this young man, his background is just so attractive, and I took him because I believe he would be a role model for a lot of young people who are giving up based on challenges. The man, mother died when he was 3 years old. He came from a very poor background, started kindergarten school at the age of 13, and today has 2 master's degrees and a PhD. And it was just based on shared hard work, honesty, and being humble. And the last one is the one that really, really impressed me most. I came across him, I think 2011, 2012, when I was lawyer for the Land Commission, and he was working there as a technician, as one of the young professionals. And I just heard his background of how, while doing his master's at Cottington, he took a janitorial job at the Salvation Army School, being paid $50. How many of our people, even high school graduates, take janitorial job? And he took it, and then it's all right. I know I will rise up. Based on his work, he became warehouse supervisor, and later on, administrative assistant. Also got into the administration when they saw his work. Many people like to overrate themselves, and gradually they become arrogant because they say, no, I can't do that type of job. But that's the character that we need. Being smart, but yet humble, hardworking, and earning everything. He did Cardinal in 3 years as a 4-year degree, and then he was Cardinal Student Council president. But many people from low background just trying to get to school said, I'm not getting into activities before I risk my scholarship. But he did all that. And then he's one of the experts in the land area. When we're writing the land rights law and all of that, he was one of the researchers. And he can be credited along with many persons for giving right to customary land by those who reside on it. And today, it is clear that government doesn't want the land. That customary people can get deed for the land and distribute them to the natural owners. He contributed to that process. And so, yes, he's smart, he's hardworking, he's humble and honest. We need that character. And then we are years apart. When they say generational change, it comes through mentorship. And I believe with what he has already, and 2 of us 24 years apart, is like a son. Whatever I have will be added to what he has, and then he will carry on.
I like the fact that you've talked about his humble beginning, his humility, his steadfastness, how he's persevered life. But in politics, what does he bring to the table? Of course, Mr. Tiawan Gongloe is a brain in Montserrado County, member outside of
all over the country. Poor man lawyer. Why are you limiting me to one spot?
But you even give me a chance. I go here around doing anything, but not all the places you are branding. You know that. Not all the places you got strength in. So I'm going to those places that you have strength. But be it as it may, I mean, you come with something, but we are concerned about what, does your VSP come with.
In addendum to that, a lot of time people will pick the running mate, not just based on the fact of all of what you've just mentioned, his honesty, his hard work, and what have you, but they'll also pick a running mate that has what we'll call a constituent, like You're from
His
Nimba,
stronghold.
your stronghold, something like
Know
that.
your stronghold.
Yeah, political stronghold, where when he goes, you say, yeah, okay, this guy can give me this particular county, he can give me this place. Does he have anything like that?
Oh yeah, you come from Bon County, the third Fort Rich County,
Is he
because
politically
Monserrato is.
influential like that?
Oh yes, he is. In fact, I told the people of District 4 when I went to ask for him traditionally, and I gave the Cllr, he said, you give me your son. I said, I found a black diamond in District 4 in Bon County. He is well.
District 3?
District 4.
District 4, Bon
Yeah,
County?
yeah, that's Belafana, those areas there, Jowa, Foucault. So I consider a black diamond because the kind of work he was doing. He was the front runner in the legislative bid. He was running to be representative of District 4. And clearly he was a front runner for what he had done there. Different things helped them to get $100,000 oil mill, everybody, based on the project he wrote and all of that. You got people charging their phones through the solar system easily. He had made a contribution to some media institutions, Bonka, all that. But he's not a showy person, but well connected in Bon County. So, getting him in Bon County, I consider it to be a real gift because you see, my mother is from District 1, Bon County. And District 1 people were already organizing a program in Bon County to present me to the whole of Bon County before I found there's some from District 4. So District 1, District 4 are already in our corner. And with Salah Siakor, who is running our ticket, very popular, well-known person, he has won award in the environmental thing. He's known all over the world. He's from District 5. So when you connect Siakor and Yure Yakpawolo and Gongloe in Bon County,
Bon County
we
is one.
are going to get.
Bon County is one.
Bon County is a stronghold. Of course, Nimba. There's a popular expression now in Nimba: "Want the head, not the tail." We have had the tail twice. We had Dogole, we had Mose Blah, and that's the song they were singing in Zikepa over the weekend when I went to Buto. Ma and choir was saying, what happened to, when they say in Gio, it sounds very good. Say, what happened to our own stomach? We women on Nimba. Our stomach again born president too. This year, our stomach was born president. And they gowned me. So I feel Yure Yakpalo, in fact, just Yure Yakpalo, his story on the social media is winning a lot of votes for us. Because young people who giving up on themselves say, somebody can go to school almost at the age of 14 and still succeed. So he gives a lot of young people who are challenged, socially, financially, a lot of hope. And that's the thing we need in this country.
His name is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. He's our prime guest, folks, and we have him here. If you're just tuning in, this is Prime FM 105.5. You can also log in on our official page. That's Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. You want to say something that we go on to?
Yeah.
But before you go, I just want to tell the people of District 9, thank you.
District 9?
Yeah, Nimba
County.
The great program they organized over the weekend. Before I forget, I came in this station to also say that people forget easily. And I want to tell the people, Glaze up here, thank you. Because after the Zigaba program, I went to my hometown, Glaze up here, and asked, I said, anybody has problem with me, I say it, because I don't want people to say tomorrow, people of Glaze up here do not support it. Every family was represented and they say, President, coming from our town, anybody in this town dare to say no, they will swallow that no.
Is that not
Glaze
impossible?
support you.
Is that not impossible for just everybody to say yes to you?
Well, it is not impossible. It is not impossible.
Everybody, not a single person
It
said
is
no.
possible.
Okay.
It is possible, but in Glade, they have assured me.
In the run-up, but you stand no chance.
And
That's what Funes are saying.
well, and those who are saying it are not the silent majority. People should realize that less than 5% of the entire population belong to political parties. They are loud speaking, They are well known, they are eloquent, but a majority of the voters in this country don't belong to political parties. That is the known fact. And they don't talk a lot, but they vote. And that's why people get frustrated. How in a country where the United Party said at the end of the government, through the mouth of the president, that corruption became a vampire. That's a transformative word. It means it was not a vampire before United Party took over. Under the regime of United Party, it became a vampire. It may have been a hawk, what they call in Liberia chicken roll, but it became a more powerful bird, vampire. And then under the regime of CDC, this country became the 10th poorest country in the world. To the extent that, and I like to go to the lower, Kobo used to be 5-6 years ago, $100, $125. Today, the cheapest Kobo is $400. Well, the price has gone down to $150 a few days because CDC spread a lot of rice around. But that's for 1 month, all right? So it was $400, and they do joint venture to buy one Kobo now. And then when they do joint venture, not sufficient, they do sepe. Sepe means, give one bowl of Kobo. Even will sell, I think we take it. In fact, money business is so tough that the Kobo seller say, my boy, you can do, you're taking for sepe before my rice leaves over. That is the harsh economic situation that we are under. A majority of the people are feeling that. And they say that victory for them. Liberians are gullible, as people say, but they have a lot of common sense. Even a deaf, dumb, and blind person can feel. And they are not going to vote for any of those two.
I'm realizing, just before Trojan can come in, on the same note, somebody told me it seems that the people like you talking, the people like you advocating for them, but it doesn't seem the way for the presidency for you in the thoughts of the people. How about that? You felt so? And I asked them, why did you say so? And they made an apparent reference, which is in the next, lap of our conversation. Your recently held protest campaign, corruption campaign. The turnout was dismal in the minds of that person. I know I drove around there. I did not see the number of persons that I anticipated, I must say here. And I thought it was important that I said that to you. How about that? The perception of the person.
Okay.
And then we go to the
first, that was the first anti-corruption campaign ever in our history. All right. There's a different one. People.
I thought Kumi's held one. Point of correction.
No.
And Trojan?
No.
The one to
they are not anti-corruption. The people are tired suffering. It's different from
tired suffering.
We are tired suffering. It's different from
Yeah.
people are eating our money.
Okay.
So historically, that was the first anti-corruption campaign. And campaigning for values are different from campaigning for politicians, for votes. That one brings a lot of people. The only campaign for value that brought a lot of people was in April 14, 1979. Why? Because, the salary of houseboys and all that was like $20. So if you increase the price of rice to $22 or whatever the price, it makes it difficult. Majority of the people came off of that. And of course, 1979 was a different year. There was a wind of change blowing all over Africa. People were emotionally charged. This time, and then I have to face it that we forced it. We didn't advertise it sufficiently. We should have had it for 2 weeks of advertisement. That wasn't done. It was just about 3 or 4 days of advertisement. And many people said, well, we didn't know, but it would have been in. Anyway, given the time of planning and the turnout, we felt satisfied. For those who are saying it again, I would say that are the few connected to political parties that are opposed to us, that are saying that CDC, largely United Party, it's turning out that our opponent in this race might be United Party because they are the ones that are always, attacking LPP and all of that, and even me personally. But let me say
opposition versus opposition.
Right. We are all competing. Now, let me say this. They will say that. But if you watch the video clip where I went, there was not one country I went in that people were not testifying of things that they say I've done that I didn't remember. You know, campaign is not on campaign day. They can give you 5 months of campaign. A true politician life is a campaign. Every day in the life of a politician is campaign. In my whole life, I've been campaigning. You know, so they are wrong, because obviously, when you say anything during the campaign, they want to relate it to your track record, your life. And so much about me, and for someone to say that I'm nothing in the political race, even though I'm well known, is like to say, "Oh, if Martin Luther King Jr. was alive, he would not have even can't."
Were you winning
Well known,
elections?
as
For good reason.
as a poor man lawyer, doing good, yes, like Jesus Christ was, but not politically, no. You talked about the value. You went out for value, for example, and it was not about campaigning or getting or for politics. But how do you separate you as a political leader, a presidential hopeful, going out on some anti corruption campaign from trying to garner support for you rather than it being labeled, as you call it, around value. So people saw you as trying to raise the crowd that they didn't see, and so they classify you as not being as popular politically.
Compare the crowd in Banga, for example. You will see in the newspaper to compare the crowd in Zekepa, which were purely political rallies. All right, compare them. And
The turnout was more than the turnout on the anti.
Of course, obviously.
Does it mean that Liberian people don't believe that there should be a
So
need?
Liberian should be turning out for corruption.
For
since
corruption,
they,
those
since
kinds
they
of
believe
events.
that corruption is the
You
one
have heard people have different views on corruption. You have heard a lot of poor people, like Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed tens of thousands of slaves only if they knew they were slaves in America. So the question of value, people look in this country, people say, yeah, the poor corrupt, but at least they're building big houses that made like very low farm. Yeah, at least they're investing the money here. People have different views on corruption, and there are several beneficiaries of corruption. So there are two sides. Look, when I was in government, a chief in my own village shamed me on a day of feast. When I went there, I'm not calling anybody. He said, this boy is a bad boy, he's a wicked boy. He got the position of Satan, minister, the one who used to call Satan. They come up with money, the other put money. Time for you to enjoy, they say he's straight. The boy is wicked. The way I was standing as a chief, he's supposed to bow, talk to one of the company, they say, my friend then tell me that when he just talked to one company, they give me one jeep. Then when they say all the chief will come to San Nicolas when I get there, a low level chief commission and then get a motorbike, then I get out from my jeep. Then when they say, oh chief, how you manage to get jeep? Then I say, you don't know my son, a minister, but you're not making me to feel that way. I said, that's true, chief. I can do that. But you know the cost to Liberia? I'm labor minister. Let's say I tell fires to Metals Tea, they'll give one jeep, they give it. Well, all the people come, when they bring all the foreigners, they pay work permit fee. Will I really be able to enforce the law? Or when the workers go on strike, I don't want to be, hey, your way. But when I get the company hard time, I will not be doing my job. The cost will be too high. So people there are different views on corruption. People think that when you are dead, they are supposed to say when you are dead, it's time for your people to eat too. And they don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of education to do to say the reason why people are suffering is because what is supposed to be for the majority of people are enjoyed by few people.
Okay, my colleague has a concern, and then I got some real strong political.
Your mantra, like you're using the broom to sweep. Could you please hold it up to our camera so we can see that that's the broom. So you're sweeping. Corruption in Liberia is systemic. It is ingrained, sort of, in our country. It has a very deep root. All right. So cutting it off, like you said, under President Sirleaf, it did not just turn into a vampire. I could remember it was first a public enemy number one, and then it went to becoming a vampire before it was a challenge she could not address before she left office. So corruption has always been there. It is still here today in our country. The LACC, of course, indicted several government officials before. None of them were ever tried, though. So you coming up, and that has been the thoughts of many politicians coming to the Liberian people with the idea of fighting corruption, of ending corruption. In fact, I can remember President George Weah said in his inaugural speech that he was going to end corruption. He came to end. He didn't say, he said end. No, it was not the inaugural. He said it in America before the UN that he was going to end corruption. Now, you are coming on the mantra of also getting rid of corruption. So just tell the Liberian people, how are you going to go about doing that? Because while it is not impossible, but it seems impossible in our system, Liberia.
So Liberia is not unique. There's corruption everywhere, even United States.
Mhm.
Billions of dollars are lost to corruption. The difference between United States and many countries on earth is that they hold people accountable. Here we don't hold people accountable. They get corrupt. The most sometimes presidents do is just dismiss the person. But then they dismiss the president and go to enjoy the corrupt money. I have a 12-count that I call Gongloe 12-count prescription for combating corruption. So I'm not just saying zero tolerance for corruption, I will end corruption. Corruption is a crime, that's theft. And it can only be fought by rule of law. That's why I talk about strengthening the rule of law. And who in this race is a well-known lawyer? Everybody is talking about rule of law. If rule of law is the way to proceed, to lay a firm foundation for good governance, then deal with the one who is a criminal law assistant professor, criminal procedure law assistant professor, who's been Solicitor General, who's been president of the bar, and I've laid a clear prescription for combating corruption. So it begins with openness. Look, we don't know the president's salary. We don't know the minister. We don't know the salaries of the big shots in the three branches of government. We need to know their salaries. And I say, number one, on day one, I will put the salary and benefits of the president and the big shots in the three branches of government on the internet, in the leading newspapers, and in simple English. So we know your salary, you minister. When your salary is not even $50,000 a year, when you start billing a quarterly lifestyle audit. Every 3 months, your lifestyle, your expenditure will be audited. There's difference between systemic, audit of your bureaus and agencies and your lifestyle. And then once I find out, and the report will be published, the president will, I said, I will subject myself to lifestyle audit. We got leadership, by example. Then the ministers will be, and the report should be published without reporting it to the president. When it's published, I will take action.
Can you spend some time on lifestyle audit? What does that mean?
Lifestyle, okay. So, for example, you have some 4-bedroom house that what you got before you became minister.
Mhm.
Then, after 3 months, you start building $500,000 house. Your lifestyle is changing. Or you buy a $100,000 Mercedes Benz as your private car. Everybody know where they make the money from. People are wondering. That wondering needs to be clarified by somebody coming here asking you where you got the money from. We know where your salary is, where your benefit, the one government giving you. The asset you declare from your grandma, or that one there on the internet will know it. So, Minister, I think you bought $100,000 car. You just been in government for 3 months.
Will you just remove or you will investigate before you take an action?
By the time the report shows, because you are minister based on the will and pleasure of the president. The will is what brings you your education, experience, and character. But as soon as they say, because your salary and benefit are known to me, then they say you're building $500,000 house, and the Code of Conduct law says an official government should not receive any gift about $250.
$250.
So if you go beyond that, it's clear. I fire you and send you off to Liberia
You
Anti-Corruption
fire
Commission.
them.
I fire you immediately. The report.
The report.
The
Okay,
report
that's
said,
good. Okay,
the
perfect.
report. So you are fired and turn over the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to fully investigate because they hold you pay. Maybe you get some in Ghana and other places. You got investment, honor President.
So and then you
And
confiscate.
Then after that, you are found guilty. The balance of the corruption money in the bank will take it. We'll use the law to take it. The houses you pay, the vehicles you bought, everything will take it. Then your family starts suffering. I've been educating Liberian boys in the 330 towns I've been to, and you should have asked, if 5 ministers are in jail for 10 years each, all their property is taken, and their family members suffering, you think any minister will want to steal again? Everybody can say no. And I say, do you think anybody who want to come to government to steal again, will want to come
Even
to
though
government?
they say corruption, they say corruption has a way of fighting back.
Wait, they can say no. I know that better than you. I will tell you, they can say no. Then I say, but then within any corruption, that the way how bring free education from kindergarten to every. Now, pregnant women, children under the age of 5, old post for 5-year-old will go to government hospital and clinic free of charge, and there will be enough medicine. That how we put Caterpillar in all the 15 countries to keep our roads maintained. This program, that's how we bring mechanized farming by putting machines in the 15 countries for the farmers to grow more rice. The money will come in there. Besides that, we'll be protected because the harm business in the country is based on the fact that some medicine men say, bring me human being out so you can be minister, bring me human being labor to be managed, bring me this one to win your election so they can go steal. But when we cut off stealing, no incentive to go to medicine man again to steal, to kill somebody. So the harm business will go that the people like that all over the country.
Can you give us a picture of your presidency? If you are the president of the Republic of Liberia elected, what the size of your convoy? How do you intend
I will cut down the
your
waste in government.
house, your security guards? And
I told my wife I will not build one more house.
I don't understand that. The house you live in?
I will not build one more house.
As president, you're not build
Yeah.
house.
So the one you got, why you be in?
Yeah. The one that owns
Does it depend whether you look presidential?
Listen. Oh, depending on security affairs, maybe I'll go to the mansion.
No, live in a mansion.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to the mansion. But in terms of private accumulation,
where are you supposed to live?
Listen, based on in terms of private accumulation, I will not build one. I will not put one more block in the ground.
Wow.
Period. Because I want to show my success by me being deprived and the people enjoying. I want to create millionaires outside government. So I'll begin with myself. Today, the millionaires are created in government. This is the only country I know, for example, that private universities are owned by lawmakers because they have access to our money. Under President Saleh, the doctrine of separation of powers was violated. They decided to make law to put lawmakers on spending in the counties. So they say county sitting. When they go there, they ask them for all kind of money. So that is complicating the fight against corruption because the people in the legislature that the GSC report is submitted to, how can they will talk about implementing the GSC report when some of their own a construction company, they do some of the contracts, they are all implicated. That's why LACC can't work. There has to be clear separation of power. The legislature role is to make law and to oversee. But if they are part of spending, which is a legislative function, then they can't do their work. I will make sure as a lawyer that function is taken away from them, that they don't perform executive function at all. Right now, we don't have separation of power. It's a violation of our constitution.
I'm smiling. I'm smiling. I'm smiling because you keep making reference to President Sirleaf and, that will irk the Unity Party people. But you just said the Unity Party people are attacking. We've seen that. They're attacking the Unity Party people.
And then to that, because we
I will align the Unity Party about in the government. And my cup got filled. That's why I resigned. Some people stay there. Some people have long level, high level of tolerance for things that their conscience don't agree with. It's a long level of patience. I don't have that patience. And frankly, when people used to say, oh, Baka will carry Cllr Gongloe, I say, you people are making mistakes. Boa constrictor swallow deer and other animals to survive. It does not swallow porcupine. Politically, I'm a porcupine. You know, not many people
So
can.
I had that table
stomach.
for discussion, but we have to speed up quickly. Now, your tolerance level as president, critics' point of view, how do you take it? How will you take it? Maybe I'm an opposition in government.
I love criticism. I love it because
That's strange. That's strange. People accept criticism, but to say you love criticism, that's strange.
I love it. You know what? People who don't love criticism are ignorant. Why do I say so? The way God made us, He made us to be criticized. You can look in your eye now and say you get coal in your eye. You have no scientific reason to say that lie because you don't look at your own eyeball. I look at your eyeball, you look at my own. You can be wearing white shirt, I say, but when you got oil behind your shirt, you took the white shirt from the wardrobe and you said, no, my shirt is clean. You just came in the dry cleaning. But do you look at your back? And God made us not to look. So you have to accept, to not only accept as a leader, love it. Otherwise, you wear the emperor's new clothing.
Your travel, how would that be? Will you get a private jet?
I will cut down. Look, I work with the government. I learned a lot from Saye government. We used to ask Guinea to help us, give us lift. And President Conte was generous. He would send Air Guinea we pay once and for it. That's what African solidarity is about. We say, help us. We're going to ECOWAS in Cotonou or in Nigeria. We can get President Conte will send the plane here.
What's wrong with you getting your own as president?
You know, you have to spend. I would buy medicine at JFK before I buy plane because it's easier to go by passenger plane. When you pack the plane, you have to be paying landing fees everywhere you go. That's a prestigious thing to do. Right now, there's no medicine at JFK. When you go to JFK, they give you prescription to go to Lucky Pharmacy. And I always tell people, if there's no medicine at JFK, they're not in Bokaza, in Lofa County, you expect to see medicine, or Boajike in Grand Cru, or Pakoita, in Riverses, or Mena, or Dumpa, your town, where you go and expect to see medicine, because the one that the president can pass by every day does not have medicine. That is the level of negligence and severe condition of the schools. Government came and pensioned the teachers all over the country. I say with high degree of credibility because I've been to they will tell you we get 12 years, up to 12 years. Only 4 government school teachers are here. The rest are volunteer. When they're ready to leave, we ain't got no control over them. So the educational system is going further down than people know because while the schools are open in some places and many places don't have school, the government cannot come and say, in Nima will be 10 school days here in one country. No. But even where the schools existed, because during President Selita, a lot of NGOs have prepared school here, they are not meeting. And number 2, you don't have the teachers. I ain't even talking about school material, even crayons. Tough. So we'll do that before we think about buying private.
Quickly, so there are few other issues.
Yeah, look at what I have to do. And second one, you guys are fighting over questions.
Because to get you will be hard.
No, it will not be hard. So you want me tomorrow?
There are a few other issues I have here, and I thought that were important to discuss. Your conversation with Mr. Boakai on why I heard you talk about your porcupine. You cannot be swallowed by a boa constructor. Can you tell us the story? A lot of persons thought that you could be a good.
You know, the public felt that way.
VSB told Mr. Boakai.
No, the public felt that way. That, I saw you on internet. Boakai Gongloe, that one time that I heard was saying. At some point, Boakai Cummings, that one time. I mean, Boakai Gongloe, that one time. Was saying that. But I admit that I'm not easily controllable. I've been in Africa all my life. I don't know how to hold back. I'm able to resign from government as vice president in 1 month. If I see that the interest of the people is compromised, the enemy, because I criticized government for a long time, from school days, from soup. I was on the editorial staff of Universal Spokesman. I was on the intellectual discourse. as co-chair, we examine early and other people. It just, I used to pray, even when I got into government. That's why they say no corruption track record. Why? Because I used to pray every morning, God, give me the strength to resist the temptation that I criticize other people for. So I hold that dearly. I'm loyal to 2Cs, my country and my conscience. So people are saying it, but Baka on his oath can never say that he ever asked me to be his running mate.
The both of you never had a conversation?
Never. So people imagine that.
Had he asked you, what would have happened?
Well, I don't want to go into the hypotheticals. Because when somebody asks you, there are several conditions you put forward. You know, it's like when people ask me now, I say, the second round, who will you support? Someone wanted the party come and say, we'll kill all the short people, we'll kill all the short people and become president. So I tell you today, then they say, oh, but you say you support the president all the time. Election, sometimes 2 days to 3 days to election, some people can make some serious blunder that can make them lose votes. So I'm not going to say that.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm saying, everybody who is saying Barker asked me to be a running mate are lying.
Okay, thank you.
They are lying. Clearly, I want to say that because, but a good bit of United Party people are using it today when they say, oh, why Barker today running mate and not Gongloe? And they say, Barker asked Gongloe, he said, but that's not true.
It was good for you to clarify that. Now,
It is not true. And I will look for, I don't get money now, but I think my supporter will give me $1,000 to give it to anybody who brings evidence that our president Baga asked Gongloe and Gongloe said no.
okay, Mr. Costa, there's conversation that you are being approached other ways. Either you are approaching Costa or Mr. Costa is approaching you. But I know people closest to him, they've confided that his next destination is your party.
No, Costa had not made secret of intention. You got to give him credit. Even when I went to America, Costa speaking in Delaware said, look, the first person I contacted to run for the president was Councilor Gongloe in 2019, where he said it was President Bai and not giving this talk. He and Mo Ali, who is in United Party, came to my office. There was in.
At that time, Mo was in United Party?
Yes. But they came to my office and said, Councilor Gongloe, for the way we see Liberia, to shape the direction of Liberia, it's only you. Mo Ali cannot deny that.
Mo Ali said that?
He said Mo Ali said that?
Yeah, the two of them came to my office. Mo can deny.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. So they came to my office and they said, what are your thoughts? I said, I'm not giving it thoughts because one of the reasons is I didn't want to undermine my administration in the bar. All the political shades in Liberia are represented in the bar. So to see you political, they were going to disorganize the bar. And so I told him. So he said in New Jersey, he pledged $500 that day.
You're talking about Costa.
Costa said, this has always been my first
Sorry,
choice.
when was that?
That was last year in Delaware. He said in the States.
At that time, you were still supporting Mr. Barker, Trojan.
Yes.
Am I correct?
No, but he was clear. He said, I'm supporting Barker now. But Barker was my if for no reason Barker is not in a race or something happy, I'm not supporting Barker. My fallback position is always Councilor Gongloe. Yes, sir. And he had never changed that. That's something he said on his program and all.
So it is new now that he is no longer supporting Mr. Barker.
Yeah, but
are you guys in conversation?
We haven't talked lately. He and I have not talked lately.
Okay, understood.
But I have no doubt that he has very good feelings about me. He has not given me any indication.
If he comes over
to doubt
to support you and be a part of your party, will you?
Who every vote counts. Who in this world will lose? Will say, "Oh no, I don't want this person to support me."
Oh, the case with Costa is different. So the people in Unity Party think that he has credibility. You followed what happened. What was that?
You can lose election by one vote.
Every vote counts. So
If for example, let me finish. So you know, Costa could come anytime, or maybe I've done something like making changes is because you know every day people change. Things situations are different. Maybe I'm answering one question, maybe I said something that could give you a different, but I've not gotten that indication that he has changed his position.
I have another question, but you said every vote counts, so something just clicked to my mind.
But do you know who votes for you on
No,
election
every
day?
vote counts.
Yeah.
So if sanctioned officials like Senator Prince Johnson for corruption that you're against, and other sanctioned officials were to come down and pledge
My
your
position on sanctioned officials have been made clear. In fact, I led a group of people to the American embassy to say thank you for sanctioning these people. And I hope that America will sanction more people, because the vote buying that they sanctioned McGill for, and the vote selling that they sanctioned Prince Johnson for, is going all over. People going and giving millions of dollars, which is hurting us because the exchange rate is going up, and the people are getting poorer because prices are going up.
No, I'm
all
talking
over the
about
country.
every vote
I've
counts.
already said that on certain things I'm very clear.
Oh, you're not accept the other
I've
votes?
said that.
Okay. The
I
other
don't
votes,
want no support from sanctioned official.
okay, the other votes don't count.
Yeah.
All right, heaven is a head that wears the crown, so they say, right? So it
And
means
you know what? The world has become a global village. You know where the chief resides? In America. When you offend America in a way where America has a clear national policy or international policy, and you violate it, in a defined way, there are consequences. And the outgoing American ambassador said that. He said, let me say to people, I did not say it was okay to deal with sanctioned officials and to put them on party ballots. There will be consequences. So for Liberian people's sake, if they elect any party that has sanctioned officials on the list, then they should be prepared to suffer the consequences.
okay. Heaven is a head that wears the crown. Meaning, if you had not worn the crown, you wouldn't know how heavy it is. Madame Sirleaf, I go back to her. She wanted one term, but after her first 6 years, she came back to the Liberian people and said, "I didn't know how enormous the tax was, so give me another chance." And that's how she ran again in 2011. Now you're coming and making all of these promises to clean up Liberia, so to speak, with the broom to sweep. But you don't know how heavy this weight, this crown, Liberia, wearing that crown and sitting as president of Liberia is, and you say none of these things. What if you go there, you don't do these things that you're promising the people?
That is it. But let me tell you, presidency is not strange to me. I worked with the president for 4 years. So historically, and unless somebody finds the history, no one has been assistant to a president of Liberia besides being a vice president and vied for the presidency. I worked with the president for 4 years in a very difficult time, during a presidency that Liberia had not witnessed for a long time. We had a temporary interim government when Ejiro was removed for 3 months or so. But that 4-year interim government, trying to put the pieces together, going to peace conferences and all of that, was an interesting learning period for me. I was in my early 30s. So I learned the presidency. You know, when you're a mechanic boy, you learn to be mechanic. And one day you be mechanic chief. So I've learned that. I'm not a novice when
So
it
you're
comes to
prepared.
presidency. I am well prepared. And you know what? That's why I picked the person who is my running mate. If something happens to me today, I'm paralyzed, or for some reason I'm physically unable to run, I am so happy that, like Winston Tubman, and I can say this publicly, Ambassador Winston Tubman, a very experienced man, called me from America a few days ago. We were talking, and he said, "This man that you took as your running mate, reading about him, is a clone of you. It's like you are trying to replicate yourself in your running mate. That's what it should be. You and your running mate should be almost similar in terms of views, and we are. If something happens to me today, nothing wrong will happen to my policy, because I strongly believe my running mate is capable."
Finally, we had some issues that we thought was very important. We bring to your attention as in Tiawan. I'm quite sure you must have heard it. I know your party was not happy about that conversation carried in our news, and so we thought that it's best a time, for you to in the election laws. Trojan is going to read that, and
2%.
yeah.
let me say
Yeah, he knows already.
again.
You can follow.
But let me tell you now,
Yeah.
people have to respect people in this country. I can't doubt your journalistic. The thing you do here looks easy for some people, but I can't sit down where you're sitting for 10 minutes and I mess up. Because you went through apprenticeship, you have done it for a long time, you have experience. I'm a lawyer, and I decide to vow on a party ticket. And people who are not lawyers raising questions. First thing, that law is inconsistent with Article 77A of the Constitution. And you go and read Article 77A of the Constitution says the legislature, didn't say may, shall make no law that has the potential of creating a one-party state. And that law, the 2% law, has the potential of creating a one-party state. Look at the 2017 election in Rwanda. Paul Kagame got 98.6%. So that less than 2% remaining for his opponent. But let's assume there were even 5 parties in that country, right? And they had this kind of law. Obviously, a one-party state would be created by that law, if that kind of law existed there. But even the law as it exists does not prohibit our participation. People should read before they get to the public, because in my view, it is
participation.
For me, it is a crime to miseducate the public. All right? Because some people who believe in me and want me to be president could have fainted and said, oh, the only hope I had. So I was wrong to mislead the public. The law says that if you don't get 2% of the total votes, and if you do not have anybody elected on your ticket as president or lawmaker, then you are not qualified. You'll be suspended for the next 2 elections. Then the last, I think paragraph 3 says, this law does not apply to any party that has a president elected on its ticket or a sitting lawmaker. When they read the law, they didn't go to NEC 2017 website to see whether or not LPP had a lawmaker. LPP has one lawmaker elected from Maggie, Ellen Ato Ray. So the party, we suspect Unity Party, because the guy who carried the case really is a very strong confidant of Joe Buckeye. They call him Augustus Decker Jones. Incidentally, he's been to my law office, we've done some work for him, but that's politics. In politics, people don't usually trust what happened. So he carried the case on citizen action for some kind of organization here. Filed an objection against our qualification as a political party. I went to the case, even though I called a competent lawyer, I said I will go to this case. I went there and said, first, by law, this NGO is not qualified because the election law says either a candidate or political party. So let the political party can be disguised, they will not use him as a proxy.
So United Party was using him as a proxy.
I strongly believe that way. Then some, the lawyer said, you know what? We want everything to be clear. That's the law. But really, in the election, we want everything for information purposes, because out of this, people will get clear information. So let's start. They asked him, read the law. He read it. They said, but read the next paragraph. He read all. He said, ain't finished reading. Let's go to the next website. The lawyers at NEC were very methodical and very comprehensive. We took 1 hour on this simple thing. They said, no, I'll go on my own phone. They help him teach Jalo, the head of the law office there, help him. He went to the NEC website and said, okay, go to the representatives now. You went there. Number 1, Margibi. Say, yeah, read it. Ellen Ato, LPP. They say, you see it now, one party is the even says LPP. One party is the LPP is okay. So then they say, go back to the law. The last paragraph, what did they say? He read it. They say when a party has a lawmaker, then this law is not applicable to that party.
No, but then this law is in itself conflicted. It says one thing, and
it's a meaning another thing.
And it says another thing. already,
But
according,
that's not our problem. The law is confident for the legislature.
so
And then my role is to tell the Liberian people that LPP has no legal restriction on the existing law.
Okay, so Trojan, let's pick up calls because we have to go. His name is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. He's our prime guest right here, contesting in the upcoming elections slated for October 10, 2023. And this is Prime FM 105.5. The lines are hot already. The numbers are, we have an O2 number, which is for LTC. It's a 0220205227. Again, 0220-020522 or 0886 050507, 0886 050507. The low star, the MTM number is 0886 050507 or 0770-1051. 0770-1051 are the numbers you can call us on and have your say. Our guest is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. Good morning, your name and where you call from, Prime FM.
Good morning, Kevin. Let me say good morning to your co-host and let me say good morning to the councillor, your guest.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Godwin Weir Jr. I'm joining from the car here this morning. Well, Kevin, I followed the councillor explanation. They great as usual. But there is something that I want to, differ within your bid. When he painted the picture that, the past 12 years was so corrupt, to the extent that he had to resign. I think the councillor forgot that he didn't resign from the past government because of corruption. He resigned because President Shirley have asked all her cabinet to, step aside. So I'm thinking he knows the story better. So to make it look that, the past government was so corrupt when he even served as, Solicitor General in the same government, Minister of Labor, which he did not resign because of corruption, but because in fact he immediately or one or so. To, make it look that Waka is so corrupt, I think it's unfair. And,
Okay.
And secondly, he also said he's I think he's a pumpkin pan. And,
cannot be swallowed by a boar.
Yeah, he cannot be swallowed by a boar. We don't want to be making statements, that will bring, bad feeling in the future because, Waka did not see you that way. Even if he did not call you, but you were expecting his call anyway, and you would have, accepted his, his request if he was going to ask you. So we don't want to, paint the picture that.
But why the man will be expecting your expecting your call when he's a pocket pan?
No, then you're going to drop all the sharp, fellows or so, and you're going to go there.
Okay, he will respond to that. Thank you. Thank you. We have to take others, and he will respond to that. Good morning, your name and where you call from? You are sounding very far from your phone. You're sounding very far. Go ahead.
I think I'm okay right now.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's very perfect. Go ahead.
Thank you. Let me appreciate the council this morning. My name is Cooper Passive. I'm from this morning from History 11. Let me appreciate the council for your explanation at the
You sounding far again from the phone, Cooper. Go ahead.
Kelvin.
Okay, it's okay now.
Yeah. The councilor spoke well, right? But the area where he told the public that he left the Banasili government because the government corrupt, it's distasteful because we all know the history. We read history, we know what happened. And Banasili left the country, she gave an instruction that all government officials should be legal in that position. And later she called them back and he intimidated, he reduced, so he said that Banasili didn't give me that respect. So he would not go back to the government. So he was to tell the public for day one, day two, the careful more, and the caliber of people Banasili brought in the government. If he feel in your mind that the government corrupt, he was to resign, wouldn't he? But Banasili asked him to go on cabinet break and later bring it back. He said the Bible, that's why he left the government. Most of that, Councilor Gongloe tell us that if Ambassador Blanca is going to call him and discuss the vast running this stuff to him, he's going to accept it. But because Ambassador Blanca was doing, as Ali say, Honorable Gongloe see that he has control over the population, he's a targeted president, so he's going to test them. That is why he's the risk. We don't want to attack him right now, right? Because our target is criminal justice.
No, you have to stop that. Kopo, you have to stop that. We're not going to allow you to use such words on the president. Yeah, we would not allow anybody do that to Mr. Parker in who you so respect. There's no record that shows that Mr. Weir has been convicted of criminality. Yeah,
Continue.
you should not continue.
Kuba should not
Yeah,
even
you should
continue on the line.
No, he's not on the line. Took him off.
Yeah,
Let's
should
hear
not
from the
even
next
continue.
caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, new guest, most especially Honorable Gongo.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. This is Ambassador. And I will not corrupt. My record is clear. Why not give me the opportunity? Now, I want to ask Honorable Gongloe, right? I'm not seeing him insulting, except this corruption thing I heard him talking about it. You never the government was corrupt that he said. And normally he would say, that he resigned, but he didn't resign. The Cooper said, of course, when Madam Singh said all of them want it because of one or two things that they did. And then they asked him to come back. He said he was not going to come back because for him, he felt humiliated. And so that is now equated to
A willful dismissal. He did not willfully. Okay, you will respond to that.
Before I leave, right? I want him to talk to his supporters. I don't see Bracket insulting him. I don't see his supporter insulting Bracket. But his supporters that is Bangor and then the other guy, they put them insulted, call him all kinds of names. I think this is
You mean Lami? Hello, you mean Lami? You show Lami Park boy that I know. I'm not sure. You show
what?
You're not even there.
Lami?
Not there.
Okay, we'll find out. Okay, maybe others can call and make an attestation to it. Yeah. Okay.
Whether you support or not, let's award or get back our supporters for insulting,
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now let other people talk. Now your one won't be on the line, my man. Let other people talk. Good morning. Let's hear from the next caller. Good morning. Let's hear from this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, sorry about
1 minute.
I'm the National Secretary General for Waka Section. And Secretary David comes from Gongloe and myself have a very, very strong relationship. And my proximity to Councillor Gongloe is common. By the way, I tell you, he comes from Gongloe mainly because of national funding was actually through education and opportunity created. And he did that for many other names I will not mention yet. And clearly reading through the political landscape, I decided to let my father down, that I usually call him, and support the unity party of the set worker. I strongly believe that Joseph Worker is the only alternative to change this country for the best, not for the best.
Okay.
Our people children are saw voting Joseph Worker in Jeremiah for the first example, loudly telling, you don't come from Gongloe and my incoming president Joseph Worker have things for the continuity. It's not they share the thing at the other when it comes to corruption. So I strongly believe that second running president of Gongloe will choose the path that will take it Nigeria to this country.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's hear from the next caller, then we'll take the last three and go over to Councillor Gongloe. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Kevin.
Yes, sir. You're live on Prime FM.
And good morning to Councillor Gongloe, my instructor.
Morning.
And very long family friend. My name is Edwin Fambule, and I call from Monrovia. Let country that we all wish to see the betterment of Liberia in the future. He's a fine gentleman. He has demonstrated this from his youth up to today's date. And in line of the progressive, I think he's one of the people who stand very tall. My question to him as an instructor, as a leader, is that just a hypothetical. Our country is at a very important crossroad. And for those of us that follow politics, for those of us that are descendants of politics, we know that these elections will go into a second round. If it happens that he's not in the second round, where will he be advising the country, his followers to move? Because we need to know, all right? Like I said in my opening, the country is at a very important crossroad. The directions that we take will determine the future of generations unborn. So Cllr Gongloe and others who are leaders, who are teachers, should be telling us that if this happened, I think I will probably lean towards the side because of X, Y, Z. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Let's take the last two. Let's hear from this caller. Then the last one after you. Good morning. Your name, where you call from?
Yeah, Kevin, thank you so much, TMK, and hi to Cllr Gongloe. My name is Roswell MD. I'm going to allow us to be on with. I would like to advise all my Liberian brothers and sisters out there. At those times, in Cllr Gongloe say that white guy was for rough, or black guy is for rough. No. The next thing is Cllr Gongloe, who supports Cllr Gongloe, has never said that, oh, he has never been talking about the white guy. No, he has never done the other stuff. All he has been about the other all he died. But what I want to say, Kevin, is that, every ritual between about the white guy and Cllr Gongloe, we are listening. I was actually put the two men are based on the Nigeria with clean records. I know that we any of them. So we are bad, but not that no. We should not be injecting this kind of thing into any kind of message because anything is taken into our the two treatment.
Okay.
So I advise that people are leading. The last time I had start, what's the thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for that question. Good morning. Your name and where you call from? Your last caller.
Good morning, Calvin. I'm Wilson Johnson, member of the National Request Force.
Go ahead, Wilson. Yeah.
And I appreciate your student. I think we were here during my election well. And we all, I'm thankful for everybody. We always need to hear from y'all. We get it all time. We get our government to our concept. And we trust them going to our lower ministry and nothing, and we do not get any good news for our Latino brother. So I can Cllr Gongloe, who serve as lower minister, have the audacity to speak about corruption. He has no power. He has no corruption because we were here, we saw while we're on in Lima country. You were serving as the labor minister when people when the level of mental sick or anger and break down the situation, we were here. We know the road and the place. So you have no power to speak about corruption. You were here serving the Palestinian government for 4 years. He did not have a proof stripping corruption where we saw corruption all in the lower ministry. He did not strip the whole lower ministry. How can he strip law when it comes to corruption? He has no corruption.
Thank you. Let me squeeze in our senior media colleague in Eddie Hammer, and we are not taking no more call after him. Good morning, quickly because of time. I hope you just.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you. Good morning, Cllr Gongloe.
Good morning.
A lot of issues were giving you one. The great wave of same-sex, from the West around the African country, and give the condition that will happen to lead us. And we go from Uganda, we go from Ghana, and they have been on the. Where do you stand? Are you going to support of it? Are you going to support it? Where do you stand on this? Just by the grace of God, you become a president.
Okay. Thank you. We're not taking any more calls. So, Cllr Gongloe, you have a place.
Well, let me start with the young man who made, sweeping allegation about not having moral authority. When you see a lot of things, and I'm a lawyer, the first one of the key things is not correct. And he talked about our Minister of Labor when something happened at Metal Steel. That case, I was the lawyer for the people who were arrested and detained. In fact, me and now Justice Brace were the lawyers for the over 50 persons that were brought from Nimba and jail. If I was in government and labor minister, I would not have been a lawyer. That was about 3 years after I left government. I think I was 2013, 2014, there about. And we filed habeas corpus and released many of them. 12 persons remained, and those 12 persons were indicted. The case was transferred from Nimba to Grand Bassa County because the government claimed there would be local prejudice since he worked from San Nicola area. I volunteered and represented them in Grand Bassa County, spending my own money, renting my own hotel. They were my people. I went there and represented them. Honorable Matinge Tingba and Honorable Prince took out with the two that used to help me sometimes with gas slips to go there. So somebody probably told you something, but it is not factually true. Now, if this one major one is not true, everything he said cannot be true. People who work with me at the Ministry of Labor would know. Look, against the interests of the Lebanese and Indians and many persons, I issued regulation number 17 that raised the work permit fee from $400 to $1,000 that made them to get rid of a lot of non-Liberian employees and created space for more Liberians to be employed. Even the Minister of Labor today, Councillor Gibson, praises me for regulation number 17. The minister before him, Moses Colley, praised me for regulation number 17. There is no record. Nobody who worked with me at Labor Ministry or at Justice Ministry will pin me with corruption in any way. So that is sweeping generalization will not work. The next issue people talk about is, oh, you didn't resign. You know, the journalist that interviewed me after I left said, Councillor Gongloe, you left the impression that I was one of your corrupt officials. So she was not to try to fight corruption. And that reason is given in my 13-page press statement that is on the Perspective website. Let him go and read. And I didn't write it now. That was during that time, 2010 November. So it's there. So I'm not going to debate with people whether I resign, I didn't resign. But I can say if any of them who called were in my position, they would have been going to medicine man, going to praying person to remain job. But I took a decision that many of them could not have taken. And history will judge me right. Because the decision was meant for President Sadi to change her attitude and muster the courage to fight corruption. She didn't do it, and later corruption became a vampire. And somebody says, me and Ambassador Barker are the same. I don't fault people's opinions, but the difference between me and many people are running that. Now many people have made sacrifices for this country. Their comfort, their life, going to jail for what you believe.
Including former Vice President Barker?
Never sacrificed. When we were fighting Tree Party in 1978, going to jail, he was enjoying the Tree Party. He was head of LPMC in Lufa. Never said a word during those times when there was repression. In fact,
really?
Never said a word during those times when there was repression. In fact, the suspicion, the rumor that time was he was trying to be vice president to do when Cllr Poto came and suggested Monimba instead of him, and that was a rift between them for years.
Say that again, between him and Cllr Poto?
Cllr Poto for years.
What happened?
Because Cllr Poto recommended Monimba.
Oh, so he expected to be the
running mate, and Cllr Poto blocked him by bringing someone else. Monimba was ambassador in London, and that brought some feud between them for years, I understand.
And why wasn't Mr. Bakake? Did you hear the side of Mr. Poto, the late?
Well, my understanding that Poto felt that Bakake was, Monimba was better suited for the position than Bakake, for whatever reason. Honor Taylor, I was arrested and detained for standing up for poor people, for journalists, for political activists, for human rights activists. Mr. Buakai and Cummings were adults. They kept quiet, they didn't say a word. The difference between me and them is that I don't hold back. I speak my mind for the people of Liberia, irrespective of what the consequences will be.
So aside from being vice president for 12 years, former vice president Buakai did not a single day stand up
Not that I know.
in an advocacy role for.
In fact, he himself admitted that there were opportunities that were squandered. He said he was not an effective vice president because he was a racing car parked in the garage. And I usually say, for the first 6 years, I can agree that he was parked, but he campaigned for the second 6 years to be vice president. So I can say, therefore, for the last 6 years, he parked himself. So you cannot hold President Saye for packing him, because if that was the condition for the 6 years, why did he then campaign?
Say to the people of Liberia that we deserve the next term.
Exactly. Why? So we have to be honest about this. When I talk about integrity, as being honest about historical facts. All right? So the two of us are different. I didn't like what happened. My cup was full. I left. And many of the United Party want to discredit me. Everybody will call. I know them. They are all United Partisans plus one sedition who say, no, they may not take credit that he left the government voluntarily. I was not fired. I left the government. So you moved the resignation and left the government voluntarily.
On that note.
Now, somebody say, if Buakai actually would have agreed, how did they arrive at that? How did they arrive at that? What I want to clarify, he didn't ask me. He didn't send an emissary to me to tell me I wanted to be my vice. Look, I've met with Buakai before, and I knew what people were speculating could not work. I met with Buakai in 2017. That's the only time I met with Buakai, except when we met at Child Boy funeral in Bunadin 2 years ago. And then when I met him at the hospital recently, at the hospital, he was sick, I wanted to say. But we talked for 2 hours and he told me, Cllr Gongloe, nobody can recommend vice president to me. I will make my own decision. At that time in 2017, he supposed to, Buakai want to talk to you, want to make. I said, okay. To satisfy our own meeting, he called me, I met. He said, I consider vice president to be like your cook, to be like your vice president, to be like your security, your gatekeeper. Your life depends on any of these three persons. So it's a decision that I must make myself. And he said to me, President Saye brought Cllr here to be my running mate. I told her she won't let me make my own decision, just as she made decision by me. So when people are suggesting names and all that, I said, people don't know Ambassador Buakai. I had talked with him, and he said that decision must be his. So they must not speak about things that they don't know. The truth is, Buakai himself can never say to anyone that he wanted me to be his running mate, and has not told anybody that. But they are doing wishful thinking that is what they hope. Yeah, it gave me a good feeling that many people say, oh, with you and somebody else will be. But with me and Yure Yakpaulo, we are going to win. With the two of us, because we have the character that is required based on our track record. We are change agents. We are not people who say yes to everything. To be quiet and say yes men does not change anything. To agree with everything does not change anything. A man must stand up for something, otherwise you can fall for anything, for everything. I am not a man who stands up, who keeps quiet. I always stand up, and people can predict me.
If the elections could go in the runoff.
Somebody asked that, Edwin, my student asked that question. And my position has been clear. That I just said it before Edwin asked. That we will cross the bridge when we reach it. Because any of these people, Mr. Obia could do something that could make him very attractive in terms of change. For example, I said one time, I gave him I said, look, if George Weah, for example, comes on the air and explain to the Liberian people in an acceptable way where he got money from to build for the 7-story building opposite the Baptist Seminary. He posts his salary out on the internet and subjects himself to quarterly lifestyle audit, I would drop from the race. I said that over a year ago. All right? Because that would be the changing path. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be president because, that has been my lifelong ambition. I want to be the project manager to change Liberia's history for the better. Because there's a naturally rich country that has been made poor by poor leadership. That's what I want. I don't care about the grandeur of presidency. And you judge people for what they stood up for in the past. A leader must be prepared to die for his country, for his people. A leader must be prepared to lose opportunity and privileges for his people. And I don't find anybody in this, from the job to say, okay, I work with it.
What about Mr. Weah, for instance, during the wars? He was playing in top-flight leagues and came back to Liberia.
That's sacrifice. To come
No, I'm asking you, maybe that could be referenced as sacrifice.
Yeah,
Isn't that sacrifice?
I don't consider it sacrifice. I work in the government.
What do you term as sacrifice?
Risking your life, or doing something that could make you not get a job.
His comfort, he left
Europe.
Europe, he came down here. He was asking people to demobilize. He worked with, as UNICEF Peace Ambassador, he worked with former combatants to demobilize them, all of that. He gave his financial support and all of that to the national team when the government could not support. I mean, those were sacrifices he made.
Every money he spent for now, what I hear, was paid back, whenever he supported the government. But risk-taking, politically through our history, never comes to that. The humanitarian service is different from risk-taking, it's different from risk-taking. Risk is, if I do this thing, I could lose my job. I could be killed. I could go to jail. I could lose my business. But I would do it because it's the right thing to do in the interest of Liberian people.
If I come to Liberia while playing in Europe, I could get killed and I could lose my contract, I could get injured. So let me just stay right here.
When there was war all around, there was a football match here, and they still came.
And he was playing.
And everybody dropped the guns and came to watch the game.
He was playing in Banga.
I was
playing in Tubman Bird.
Even
What?
the rebels
The FIFA was the one who determined where you play.
What I'm saying, Monrovia at the stadium was a free place. It was protected.
Were you at the battlefronts during the war? Were you advocating in front of the bullets?
What am I going to do at the battlefront?
Oh, but why you want
You were taking.
Why you don't we have to go play football there?
What I'm saying, I'm saying that Bishop Francis used to get in his car and go to the rebel area, and he would put his driver behind and say, "I'm going there." He was prepared to die.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't do that. But I did other things. That's why I went to jail. That's why I did other things.
Okay.
All right. I didn't go because I was not. I was executive assistant to the president, working in a mansion, and every day my services were needed. We were attending peace conferences, and we were riding small planes. And one of the times coming from Lomé, the plane almost crashed in Lomé. That was risk-taking. All right, but in terms of political actions in this country, none of them sacrifice anything for the life.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You gotta be a change agent to promise that you can change things. There are two types of politicians in this country. Establishment politician. I am not an establishment politician. I'm a change agent. I'm an advocate that I've been all my life. So I'm an advocate, the only advocate that is running for presidency of Liberia.